And welcome back to the Rent Stew Podcast, the only podcast that tells you to pay rent. He's Eric and I'm Owen. I'm in a new place. Anyways, what are we talking about today?
Today we are doing a definitive ranking of every Smiling Friends episode. So it's going to be my ranking versus Owen's ranking. And then you in the comments get to tell us who had the better ranking or what your ranking would be. So yeah, we're going through all 17 episodes. I think it's 9 in the first season, 8 in the second.
Yep.
Big Smiling Friends, guys. It's like,
probably
the
best show out right now in terms of like comedy show, probably. I mean, it's the new age regular show, as we say. So
yeah, super excited about this episode.
But right. If you want to see more content like over Smiling Friends or content like this, ranking videos, be sure to sub and drop a like. Helps us out a lot. And let us know what we should do next on our next podcast. Anyways, we're starting at 17 and going up to 1.
All right. Who's going first, me or you?
I can go first.
Okay.
So I have at 17 the quote unquote worst episode. It's not a bad episode by any means. I have Mr. President. It's good. Like it's I think it's a little boring at some points. I think people really like it because Mr. Frog comes back, I would say. There's some good bits in there for sure. Like I like the bit of when Charlie finds the election and it's like rigged, or finds out the election's rigged, and like there's like the secret cult of like worms, the worm guys that run the election.
Yeah.
That bit's funny. But like there's not a ton of, I mean, Mr. Frog's presidential promotion video is really funny too. But like other than that, I don't know. There's not much to this episode. It's all right.
In 17, I got Who Murdered Simon S. Salty. Not a bad episode, like entertaining episode, but I don't think it's very, very funny as compared to the other episodes. I feel like there's just not as many good bits. I think it's funny that like everybody played a part in killing him. Like that's kind of funny, but like it just, I don't know. I feel like most of it didn't really land for me as well as it would for maybe some other people. That's
fair, because I also at 16 I have Who Violently Murdered Simon S. Salty. It's just like it's all right. I mean, there's just not much to it, I guess. And plus, like none of the other like supporting main characters either. It's just Charlie and Pim, which is usually fine, but like the other three, Gleb, Alan, and Mr. Boss, make the episodes usually a lot funnier. So
yeah. And we're kind of like sharing the same bottom two here. Next up, I got Mr. President. I just find Jimble so gross to watch.
Oh yeah, he is really great.
It's so gross that it's like to like the point where I'm like, I don't want to watch this because how gross it is. Yeah, there's some bits that I find that are really funny. Like I think that Mr. Frog's like campaign video is funny. Like I think there's the rigged election, and then like when he like shoots like the nukes instead of getting napkins. I think that's funny, but like I just really can't stand Jimble.
There's the bit at the end with Mr. Boss where he's like talking about how he put 10 grand on the election, and he's like, oh, it's all for fun though, and he's like, no, he's like, he pulls out a sniper rifle.
Yeah.
So it's like, again, every single Smiling Friends episode has a good bit in there somewhere, but it's just these two are the worst ones. But at 15, I have a silly Halloween special. Honestly, the only reason why I like this one is the bit at the end is the blackface. I think his name's Blackface, the demon. Or they're like, is that Blackface? And then they just all start beating him up.
Yeah, his name's not Blackface. They're accusing him of acting like he's black.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so you didn't get the bit. You didn't get the bit.
I didn't get the bit.
But you still find it fun. Okay, and that's all right. Because my 15 is also his silly Halloween special.
Yeah.
I like that bit at the end. That bit is hilarious.
Yeah, but like everything else is kind of a snooze fest.
And here's why. I'm not a big Pim fan.
I'm not either. He's
okay.
Out of the five main characters, he's definitely my least favorite. So
like he's just okay. And then like people overrate like the hello, Daddy Pim, hello.
It's not that funny. It really isn't that funny.
The two best parts are when they beat up the forest demon at the party, and then at the beginning, and Mr. Boss, he's like, "Yo, get lost."
He's like, "Don't go in that forest." Why? You'll get lost. That's a good bit. But no, it's just it's an okay episode. There's really not much else to say about it. At 14, I have Brother's Egg.
I love that episode, man.
I
I
like
love
this
it.
one. I don't know. I just don't find it as funny as the other ones. There's some good bits in there. I think it's funny when when the egg thing first pops out. He's like, "Stop fighting!" He's like, "Hello, what's up? Hello, what's up? Hello, what's up?" I thought that was kind of funny. And then when they go out to lunch and he's like trying to hit on a girl. That's a funny bit too. But it's like it's definitely better than the three I talked about before. There's some better bits throughout there, but it's kind of boring at some points.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna make some people mad here. At my number 14, I have Mr. Frog.
Ooh,
It's a good episode. I do
it's a
really
hot
like this
take.
episode. I do really like this episode, but when I was just looking at every other episode after it, I was like, I just don't like it as much.
That's fair.
Like it's funny. There's a lot of really good bits in it. I think Mr. Frog's hilarious. But I just I don't know. I feel like it's lacking something that the other episodes have. But it's still really funny.
Yeah. No, I mean, I spoiler alert, I don't have it ranked super high either, but I think it's a little bit higher than what you said. So
this is my personal ranking.
I know, but it's still a I don't know. Anyways, what do we get? 13? Yeah, 13. I have this one might be a hot take too, because a lot of people like this episode. I have the Enchanted Forest at number 13.
Love that episode.
I like the episode too, but I think it's not as memorable for me. And there are some really good bits in that episode.
Dude, when they're talking by the campfire.
My favorite bit from that episode is when Pim's having the flashback and he gets out of it and he's like, "You kissed your dad on the mouth." that bit's great. I think that's my favorite. No, or when they wake up in the pot and he's like, "Oh, we were right there, man. We were right there." That bit's really good too. I don't know. It's a good episode, but it's I think from this one on, all these episodes are like at least a 9 or 9.5.
Yeah.
So none of them are bad. Not even like Mr. President isn't like a bad episode. It's just
not as good as the others.
Not as good as the other ones. So
at 13, I have a really funny episode, and I really like this episode, like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I like from here on out, like you said, they're like 9.5s and above.
Yeah, they're all really good.
I have Mr. Boss Finds Love.
Really?
Hilarious episode.
It's not
low. It's not low.
Yeah, I know. I have that one. I have that one.
Love it.
I have that one higher.
Mr. Boss is my favorite character. I really just can't stand.
Dude,
I really can't stand. What's her name in it? The demon lady. I just can't stand her at all.
She's not in it for that much, really.
I know, but every time she's in it, like her voice just annoys me so much.
There's like the Dr. Monster bit, which is hilarious. There's
Dr. Monster's funny. The dagger bit. When Charlie's drunk at the wedding, bless her out. That it's like
the bit at the end when he's like all huddling around him. He's like, "I love my 4 employees."
Yeah, it's hilarious. I love it.
There's another really good bit in there too. Oh no, when they're in the room. Or when they're in Charlie's room and he has that thing in the mannequin in the corner and it jump scares him out. It's like, I knew that was gonna happen. He's like, "No, man, it's fine." I just watched that one. That was like one of the last ones I watched for this video. It's a great episode. It's definitely one of my favorites, I think. Spoilers, but next up, I kind of wanted to put this one higher, but a lot of the other ones just have more to it. I have Pim Finally Turns Green.
Same.
Yeah, so I think this one, the reason why I want to put this one higher is the Mr. Boss comedian bit, because I really like that bit.
There's so many bits that are my favorite bits in the show. Like some of my most quoted ones. I just love my boys.
Yeah.
Or like when he's talking about Alan, you built those rocket boots for Mr. Boss, and Mr. Boss he did.
He did. Yeah. No, and then at the end when he's like, "Man, I just love my friends. I just love my country. God bless America, man. This is awesome." I love that bit too.
I love it. There's some of my favorite bits, but I just find some of it kind of boring.
There's the Bill Nye bit too.
I'm not a big fan of the snowman in general.
Yeah, he's kind of annoying. The Yeti guy who pulls up is really funny.
He's funny.
He's really funny. And it's also it's a Pim episode, so it's like you know, I mean, it doesn't really feel like a Pym episode, but like it kind of is. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It is and it isn't. It's a good episode though for sure. A lot of good bits in there, and the Bill Nye bit's really funny too.
It's so good. And Bill Nye dies.
Yeah,
I just love my boss, and I love my friends, and I love the ghost of Bill Nye, and I love my God, and I love my country.
Yeah, that's what it is. I
God
butchered
bless
the line.
America.
I butchered it earlier, so no. So next up, I have number 11. I have Tyler Gets Fired / Magical Red Jewel. I really wanted to put this one higher as well too because I think this episode's great, but it's the most. It's probably the most random episode, probably.
Oh yeah.
It's so random. There's a lot of good bits in there. I love the bit at the end when he's like, you know what? There's no more rules in general, and then it just goes crazy. Like the guy gets dragged into the sky, and they all just start beating each other up. And he's like, "Yeah, we should probably go." And
Yeah,
then when they're sitting at the when they're sitting in the restaurant, and Mr. Ross is like, "Yeah, so what kind of loggers do you have?" And she just disappears. That's really good. There's a lot of good bits of this episode.
I like that one a lot. That one's a little higher up on my list. By a little bit higher, it's like a little bit.
Yeah.
Next up, I got Desmond's Big Day Out, a banger of first episode, episode, and I think it's very funny. But I just I feel like it's missing some of like just I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Alan's bit in that.
Oh, I love his bit. I love his bit in that.
He's just looking for cheese.
I just wanted my cheese.
I'm like, that's just okay. Obviously Desmond, when you first see Desmond, it is hilarious. It is absolutely hilarious.
I just like how this one kind of has like everybody, all the 5 main characters, like relatively involved. I kind of like that. Which a lot of episodes don't really do that, But I mean, there's so many good bits in this episode. I mean, there's when he goes to his family's, when he goes to the amusement park. What's the dude's name? It's just some random guy who owns an amusement park. I think it's Dave. Is it Dave?
Yeah, I think it might be Dave.
It's Dave. So that's a good bit. And then there's the it's just like he shoots the I don't even know what those things are called. He's like, that felt good. And then it cuts to his commercial. There's a lot of good bits. I really like this episode, but it's one of the greatest pilots from a show I've seen, though.
Oh, dude, when I first saw that, I was like, I'm going to love this show.
I was, because you guys were showing it to me, and I was like, yeah, that was great. So it's a great first episode. Are we in the top 10 now? So at number 10, I have Mr. Frog. So I kind of like what Eric said. It's a really good episode. It's probably one of the more iconic ones. There's a lot of good bits. There's a lot of good bits from this episode. I think my favorite bit is when he goes on the Jimmy Fallon show. it cuts back to Charlie and Pim, and they're like, that bit's really good.
I just love the Jimmy Fallon in it, dude. It's just so
yeah. There's the bit where Glep gets picked as the new Mr. Frog. It's a funny bit. I think one of the more underrated bits from the episode is when Glep's talking to the bug, and he's like, yeah, I gotta carry the show for most of the way through. And he's like, without me, the show wouldn't be anything. I don't know why I find that bit really funny, but yeah, I have Mr. Frog at number 10.
Number 10, I got the Magic Red Jewel. Just a little bit higher than you. I mean, it's funny. Mr. Boss is my favorite character, so it's nice to see one that's like he's like the main driving force of.
It's like
you said, the logger bit's great when he tells Pim to take the cyanide pill.
Yeah,
that is so funny.
That's a great bit.
I really am big on that one. He's like, feed my 16-year-old son Jason.
Yeah, that I forgot about that. No, and they try to have Glep do it, and they're like, all right, so all you gotta do is just get breastfeed for the rest of your life. And he just walks away, speaking his gibberish. That's a really good bit.
No.
Yeah. No, it's a great one. Yeah. I probably could have put that one a little higher. I don't know. And the Tyler bit at the beginning is hilarious too. We didn't mention that.
Oh, dude, it's so good. He's like, got some good news and I got some bad news. Bad news is I have to fire one of you. Tyler, you're gone. And it's like just
yeah.
like pans the camera over to somebody we've never seen.
It would have been, dude. It's probably just some dude who, like, an animator or something, and there's like, "Hey, you want to do this?" Like, sure. He's like, it'd be funny. So no, I probably should have put that episode a little higher, but it's hard to rank all of these. So, at number 9, I have Charlie, Pim, and Bill versus the Alien. I had this one initially a little lower. Went back and watched it.
It should be
Honestly,
higher.
it has 2 of like the best bits in the entire show. It has the a flat Earth bit, and then it has the Charlie arguing with the 2 aliens. I think those are like 2 of the best bits in the entire show.
Yeah, those are good. And I just like those aliens. They're like, it's an LED I got off of Alibaba.
Yeah. No, it's a really good episode.
I really like in that one is when he's like, "Do you see that alien like Tony Hawk game they were playing? You think I could get that like on Earth?" And Pim's like, I don't think you can. Like, just because it's like an alien game. He's like, yeah. I guess I figured that was the case. I just like that.
Yeah,
that whole conversation.
No, it's a really solid episode. I just like the ones above it a little bit more. There's really like it. I don't know. I think it's hard to rank some of these. I feel like it kind of goes based off of like how I'm feeling and like what I day-to-day basis, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, number 9.
Number 9. I got the Enchanted Forest. I love that Mips guy is literally just Bilbo from the animated Hobbit show from the 70s. I think that is so funny that they just completely ripped off that character design. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of just really all the bits in this, dude. When they're laying there by the fire talking, and they're like drawing fingers, like circles in the dirt with their fingers, like they're flirting. Yeah, I think the ending's hilarious when they turn out like the thing's a bomb. I just like every aspect of this episode. I think is just very well told.
It is a solid episode. It's just down there a little bit for me, a little bit more compared to the other ones, but it's still a really solid episode for sure. I think I see a lot of people on like TikTok or like when they rank this, they say like this one's like the best or one of the best ones. So it'll be interesting to see comparing it to other people's rankings. Number 8, I probably have. I don't know if this one's in your top 5 or not, but I feel like it is. Number 8, I have Shrimp's Odyssey.
That's definitely in my top 5.
Yeah, so I like some of the other ones above it a little bit more, but this is like, it's just a really funny episode. It has probably the most iconic line from the show is "How do I look, yellow man?"
Dude, I say that all the time. How do I look, yellow man?
It is probably one of the best bits for the entire show, but there's so many good bits of this with the whole confusion at the bar after they figure out that it was the wrong person. I think also this one kind of falls under, it's a little bit Pim focused, so it's a little like not super interesting to me at some points. It's probably why it's a little lower compared to some of the other ones, but I don't know. It's still a really funny episode.
Next one I have is the Gwimbly episode. Very funny episode.
Very funny episode.
Great bits. I'm spraying him with dirty brown water. Love it. I love everybody in it. I think it's very funny. He's like, what about my sidekick? He goes to visit his sidekick.
He's dead.
He's like, I'm just gonna say it. America has a fentanyl problem.
that bit. So no, and then there's the. I'm just gonna spoil it. Number 7. I also have the Gwimbly episode just so I could talk about it too. Also the bit where he's what was I gonna say? Oh, I just lost it. I was gonna say the bit at the end where he they're playing the Smash Bros type game and he's like, "Oh, Mr. Boss." He's like, "Yep, I sold my license to be in a video game." He's like, "I've been." Is that the Oogly Goo episode?
Yeah, he's like, "So that's where you've been?" Yep. Yeah. And now I'm all Oogly Goo.
That's been one of my favorite recent bits from. Oh no! And then the with Charlie's like, "Dude, please, I just want you to leave. You've been ruining my life." And he just rips his nose off.
I want you to smile, please.
He's
just
like,
smile for me.
Dude, I couldn't focus on what you're saying with that thing and your thing in my way. And dude, his scream is like, his scream is amazing.
I like how he's like on the phone, with, like the he's like on the
He's
phone
like,
with the ambulance.
and
He's
he's
got a
mocking
bag of
him.
ice on him.
And he's like mocking him. He's like, oh yeah, you ripped my nose off. Huh? And he's like mocking him as he's like fake punching him. Dude, and the best bit is at the end of the episode. He's like, you did it again. I forget what his name is, but he's like, you did it again. You drove away the only person who cared about you. And he's a picture of Charlie.
Charlie.
It's a great. It's. I feel like this episode could definitely go in the top 5, for sure. It's one. I think it's one of the best, and I just like how Gwenbly is like ripped straight out of like a 1996 PlayStation game or something.
Oh,
it
yeah,
looks
dude.
it looks so perfect.
And even the way he talks, bro, they have like the bit crusher on his vocals.
No, and when he gets mad at the game studio guy, and
If I
he's
had
like,
Mike Wembley going on me right now,
dude, and the way his voice like is like he's like chopped up is so perfect too. It's a great episode, man.
Number 15.
I think you're at
number
7.
7. Yeah,
That's in the Shrimp's Odyssey. I forgot about that. The number 15.
yeah.
I
I'll
forgot
take
about
the
that.
number 15.
I forgot about that.
I got Brother's Egg. I think there's just so many good bits. I like the dynamic between the two brothers, and I just think like whenever they start arguing, it's just so funny. And also in general, I'm a big Joel Haver fan, so I'm just super happy that they like got him onto this episode to do his really weird animation style and act out the character. And like you said, I think the bit of him trying to talk to the waitress, dude, is unbelievably good, dude.
I forgot about the bit where they're at the construction site and he's like the one dude dies. Like, oh no, I forgot to, dude. I never got to tell my brother how I really feel. And he's like, yeah, I should probably go apologize to my brother.
Yeah,
that's a great
like,
bit too.
In my evil laboratory.
Yeah, it's kind of it's a more out there episode. It's definitely a more out there episode. That's probably why it's not like one of my favorites, but it's still a really good episode. So this one this is number 6. Yeah, number 6. This is. I don't know why people hate this episode. I really don't understand why people hate this episode. I have the Smiling Friends Go to Brazil. This is the textbook. This is the textbook definition of why I love the show, because they do a lot of these things where they just have regular conversations in a lot of these episodes, and it's just that's what this whole episode is. And it's like it's kind of like a real life situation. Like you could easily get like people do this. People do, book a someone forgets to book a hotel, someone forgets to do it on a popular weekend, and it's like the whole episode is just so great. There's a lot of great bits. There's the one homeless guy who comes up and he's like, "Are you tourist? Are you tourist?" And he's like, "No, man." Charlie's like, "Dude, I thought he was gonna ask me for money."
Are you tourists?
And I love the fact. I think you said this to me when they got Mr. Boss's voice actor, and they actually just called him over the phone and recorded it. Like he didn't come in and do his lines like on a microphone and stuff. He just recorded it over the phone.
Yeah.
And I think that's great.
They didn't even tell him the context.
Oh, that's what.
That's why.
Yeah.
And so like they're like, hey, just talk in your Mr. Boss voice. He's like, okay. And like they called him and like explaining it, like talking to him. That's why it's such an uncomfortable phone call, because in real life, it was an uncomfortable phone call, and so it just feels so real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm a big fan on that episode, which is why I have it at the same place.
Okay.
It's number 6, just grazing the top 5, just barely touching.
It's close.
Top 5.
It's close, but it's like, man, it's such a good episode. I've watched it. I've watched it probably like one of the most out of all of these episodes. It's just, I don't know. It's really funny. There's a lot of good bits in it. I don't know. There's not really like a lot of bits in it. It's just like the whole conversation, I guess.
Yeah, the whole thing is just one conversation.
Yeah, the whole thing is one big bit. I think and the only like real bit in it is the tourist guy. That's really about it.
The tourists.
So, are you tourists? So no, that's a really good episode. But we are in the top 5, and at the bottom of at number 5, I have Desmond's Big Day Out. Maybe I put this one too high, but I really enjoy this episode, man. I've watched it probably it's probably the one I've watched the most, I would say, maybe. But it's got so many good bits in it. It's a perfect introduction to the show. we kind of touched on all the bits, but I like how it incorporates all the characters. I think Alan's bit in it is really funny. When he first breaks open the like nest of them and his scream is really funny.
I think my favorite part of the Alan bit in this episode is when he runs into the dude that's living in their walls.
Yeah,
that conversation is so funny.
It's a great bit. That's a great conversation too. It's really funny. And then what was the other thing I was going to mention? Oh, the thing at the end, the thing that pops out of the TV. Yeah, that bit's great. And he's like, "What is that?" And then Pim's in the corner, like, I don't even know how to describe what he looks like, in shock or whatever. But no, it's a peak episode. Many shows can't start off with that first episode that's that good. So
up next, I have Charlie, Pim, and Vil versus the alien. Okay. You're saying I think this just has a few of the best bits in the show, and I don't think there's any boring parts in it. I like when the dude pulls out the theremin. He's like, "It's our special alien talking device," and Charlie's like, "Dude, that's a theremin. My uncle used to have one of these." Yeah. And so he starts playing it, and the aliens show up.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Hey, Bill," and they're like, "Bill's already gone." Yeah. And it's like, "You guys aren't squares, right?"
Yeah. I like how
we don't even know Xenor. We made it all up.
I like how Bill is in the title too, and he's like barely. Oh, I wanted to mention, yeah, he's barely like in the episode. I'll mention this after we talk about this, but the one of my favorite things about the Brazil episode, to go back to that real quick, is that the episode has like detailed of like what they do and like it, or like something that they all do in Brazil, and it has nothing to do with the episode. I just think that's hilarious.
Oh yeah, like the description of it,
yeah,
and like the picture for it.
Do not
match the episode at all.
I think that's hilarious.
So much funnier.
I think that's hilarious. I forgot to mention that for the Brazil episode, but no, I do really like that alien episode. I think the flat Earth bit might be one of the best in the show.
It's top 5 in the show.
It's definitely top 5, but no, it's a really good episode. So number 4, I have The Boss Finds Love, and I think
great episode.
I know Eric, you had this one lower, but I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot of good bits in it. I love the bit where they're talking about it was like, I think it's like towards the beginning. He's like, I even made Gleb do the gardening. He's like, why'd you make him do the gardening? He hates gardening. And he like at the end, when the succubus lady dies, and he's just like, he like spits on her and he just like starts doing his gibberish. Yeah. So I love that bit. And I love when he when they fly through the ceiling and Alan walks in and just screams, and he's like, there's a giant hole in the ceiling. That's a great bit. That's a great bit. And then he's like, I'm tired of doing things for this married couple. It's, dude, there's so many great bits in it. And I think the Dr. Monster bit's great. The fake knife bit is great. And at the beginning when Charlie's drunk, that's a great bit. There's just so many good bits in this episode. And I think, and also the bit at the end when Mr. Boss is negotiating with the devil with Satan about yeah, that's a great bit too.
I like also when Mr. Boss scares Charlie, and Charlie's like, dude, I got a pacemaker. Yeah. You know that's not okay.
He's like, I'm cool with the joke and everything, but I can't do that. Dude, that's not funny. The line. Yeah. Those type I watched it today and I was like, dude, I think this episode's like one of the best. So it's for sure up there in my opinion. So I got it at number 4.
This was a decision I made yesterday to put this one at number 4. I did originally have it in my number 2 slot. I took it down to number 4. Not because it's any better, but just because I find myself quoting the 2 I had below it more. So I was like, I kind of have to put it lower. Great episode. This is where we're at the 9.9 territory. Mm-hmm. Here. This is 9.9 and above. I got An Alan Adventure.
Okay.
Great episode.
So many
hilarious quotes. So many good bits.
I think this has the best bits in the whole show. Some of the best bits in the whole show. You've got the stacking spider bit. That whole scene is amazing. Like,
And like it's like his like boss comes over with no arms.
yeah.
I don't know why, but
And he's like, yeah, man, thanks for getting me in trouble. He's like, yeah, bye now. Keep stacking. Yeah, I'll keep stacking. Yeah, keep stacking. And then it falls at the end too. That's a great bit. I just love the randomness of this episode.
yeah, that's
And
good. I like the paperclip bit.
the paperclip bit. I like the when Mr. Foss has his finger and he cuts it back. He breaks his finger. He's like, yeah, the things that go like this.
I really hurt my finger doing that bit.
Yeah, that bit's great. I think an underrated thing from the episode is like how Charlie and Pam are like, dude, that was the best adventure ever. He's like, my life's changed after that. And Alan's like,
He's like,
here are your paper clips, Mr. Boss.
And then Mr. Boss gives him the little figurine.
And no, the best part about that is he's just standing there with his like mouth open, like he's breathing, like heavy breathing, and he's like, I don't really want this. Charlie's like, yeah, I'll take it. He's like, you kind of already gave it to him, so that bit's great. I think it's a fantastic episode.
Fantastic episode.
What are we at, number 3? Yeah, we're at number 3. This one I think is
No, we're not at number 3. We're at number 4. No, that was our first out of the top 5.
No, that was Earn the Boss Finds Love. That was my number 4. I already talked about that. Did you skip one?
Oh, wait, no, you're right.
Okay. Yeah, number 3. So this one is
probably have the same number 3.
Charlie dies and doesn't come back.
Charlie dies and doesn't come back.
Yeah, this episode's peak.
It's so good.
There's so many good bits in it. You can't even like. You got to go down the list of how many good bits there are. They're the I don't even know what that dude's name is. The dude who like when he first goes to hell and he like scares Charlie and he punches him afterwards. I don't know what that dude's name is. That bit's really good.
He doesn't have a name.
He doesn't have a name, but that bit's really good. The whole DoorDash conversation is amazing.
The whole DoorDash conversation. I just like that they don't say hell at all in it. They just keep saying HE double hockey sticks or HE double L.
Yeah.
I think my favorite bit, the one I quote probably the most, is when he sees his grandma.
Yeah.
He's like, Grandma, what are you doing here? And she's like, I cursed when your grandfather got shot by that nasty burglar. and then she's like, and he's like, yeah, I'm just here looking for Satan. She's like, I want some hard candy.
Dude, and you've got the bit at the very end with Glep talking. I mean, he's like, in Christianity was right the whole time. Merry Christmas, everybody.
I love that bit. And then I like when God comes down, voiced by Gilbert Gottfried, and he's like, a deal's a deal.
Yeah, that's a great bit. And then obviously, I think the best bit from the entire episode, maybe one of the best from the entire show, is the Mr. Boss rap.
Charlie, what does it mean? Charlie, you were my everything.
World's effed up, man. Dude, it's such a good bit. No, there's probably some other ones that we forgot too.
He's like, Pim, I'm completely naked. Be careful where your hand goes.
It's one of the best episodes in the show for sure. This one's a 10 out of 10, I would say. This is a 10 out of 10 episode.
Oh yeah, I think these final 3 are all 10 out of 10.
For me, I think my top 4, maybe 5 are 10 out of 10. But yeah, that's it. So number 2, this one's probably your number 1. I'm not sure. I have Frowning Friends at number 2. So I
don't want to talk about it much until I get to mine.
I just knew from when I first saw this episode, I was like, it's gonna probably be one of my favorites, just because the concept of it is amazing. Insanely good bits in this. You have the 3D skeleton bit, I think, and then which leads into the helium bit.
Everything was true. All of it was true,
which is incredible. And then you have what's it? The SoundCloud rapper. That dude's hilarious.
Put some smoke in my eyes, man.
That episode, that's great. And then the other dude turns into him too. He's like, "You're in my head, man. Get out of my head.
Get out of my head."
And then you have Mr. Boss going insane when in the attic. When
he's like, the dude, he jumps out and scares the one frowning friend dude. He gets down the ground and starts peeing himself. And he's like, "Oh, don't cry. I was just gonna kill you and shoot you in the head."
Dude, it's such a good bit, man. And then and then they're like, he starts smiling. He's like, smiling feels good, and they all start dancing. And Mr. Boss does a Charlie Brown dance too. And then the Renaissance man pull up. He's like, see, I told you they were gonna pull up.
Dude, I like when Alan and Glep capture.
And
they're
Alan's like, they had a better 401k. That's a great bit, dude.
Oh,
it's such a good bit, man.
Alright, I'll expand more on this when I get around to it.
But it's such a good episode, man.
Number 2, another one I find myself quoting the most. It's got to be Shrimp's Odyssey, man.
Yeah.
Dude, my favorite line in that entire thing. I don't know why. Every time they say that, every time I watch this episode, I fall out of my chair or wherever I'm sitting laughing at this one. And it's when he's like, "Where is Shrimpina?" And he's like, "I don't know, probably at home."
Yeah.
I was like, this is such a well-written line because I was like, that's what a normal person, like, sort of guy would say. I don't know, probably at home. But like,
or a guy who just doesn't care. He's like, I don't know, probably at home.
I think Pim's the best, and like this is the best Pim's that have been in this episode. Like, he's great. She's like talking to him. He's like, this whole thing, it's just actually an exposed nerve ending.
That's pretty. Yeah, that is pretty fun. I like how because it's like it's directly after the Mr. Frog episode, and I forgot to mention that night when he pulls on his head like that. Yeah.
That and then there's the number 15.
Number 15.
I love the number 15. There's the how do I look, yellow man?
Yellow man. Great bit. There's another one.
Like,
I think
my name's Jennifer. She's like, are you telling me that you're a 4'6" shrimp who loves Mouth's Quest
with a receding hairline?
You're everything I ever dreamed of.
No, and then
Pim starts eating worms.
I forgot about Smormu too.
Text Smormu.
I forgot about that.
I just think it's a great episode. 10 out of 10.
It is a great episode. But at my number 1, I have the best Smiling Friends episode that I have in Alan Adventure. I think this episode has the best bits. We touched on it earlier, but I love the bit when he steals the paper, when the Bigfoot steals the paper clips and the skeleton pirate just spawns in and slashes his head off. That's a great bit.
I think my favorite bit though with the Sasquatch is when the Sasquatch goes and takes a pee on the. It goes on forever. Like, oh.
No, there's the bit with the paperclip dude in the nose. I think that bit's hilarious. And he's like, no, and then it's later on when he's remembering, he's like, I'm actually dead. I just died after a couple minutes after you left the store.
And then we can't go without mentioning the landlord here, man.
Dude.
And there's a diet soda.
And play Burnout Revenge on the PS2.
And then he's like,
no, and then after it gets shut down, he's like, I've brought great disservice to my or dishonor to my ancestors. And dude, there's so many good bits. I think it's my favorite, and I just love how I think the action's actually pretty sick in it too. Like it's actually like it looks pretty cool.
Yeah,
and then the SoundCloud rapper dude comes back too. Can't hate that. No, man, there's so many good bits in this episode. It's my favorite one. I think I kind of knew that, or Frowning Friends was my favorite from the start, and I think that one's my favorite.
Which is why I also have Frowning Friends in my number 1.
It's a super valid number 1.
I think Mr. Boss is genius in that. He's like, why didn't I think of it?
He's like, oh, that's genius. Why didn't I think of that?
He's like,
it's a great bit.
You guys, I remember you. You were just here like a minute ago. You told me I should probably like quit and stuff.
I think the 3D Squelton bit's like one of the best bits in the show. Is this because it leads into the helium bit? It's just like, dude, everything you said
completely out of helium.
Everything you said word for word. That's 100% true. That bit's great. That bit's so good.
And then the Renaissance men just show up like out of the blue and kill him. He's like, I told you they were coming at the beginning of the episode.
Dude, I totally don't hate with that one being at number 1. Someone else's number 1, your number 1. It's insanely valid. But yeah, I think that's about it. Give us season 3 from Smiling Friends now, please.
Now.
Um, yeah, that's really about it. Go watch the show if you haven't. We're not even sponsored or anything. Just go watch it. It's incredible.
Bro, of course we're not sponsored. Are you serious?
Dude, are you serious? Get out my head, man.
Put smoke in my eyes. All right.
But yeah, that's all from me.
That's all from me. Hey, how about you go have a great day and pay your rent?
Yes.
Da da dee da da do da da dee da 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 do.